touched on that briefly. Please, this is one of the most trying periods that our country is facing. Even in battle times, in war times, it's not easy to lose a brigadier general. It's not easy to lose a brigadier general. Even in battle times, it's not easy to see this mass of communities being displaced, harassed, taken hostage, and people killed in several parts of our country. Our democracy, right before our eyes, is being rubbished.
If you think you've seen drama in Nigerian Senate before, what happened yesterday takes to a terrifying new level. Former governor of Bayelsa State, Senator Dickson, stood up to speak on the bloodshed in the country, specifically the killing of a top-ranking military general. But instead of sober reflection, the chamber erupted into chaos. Why? Because Dickson dared to criticize the ruling party's obsession with commending the president even when the country is on fire. It was a showdown between the truth and sycophancy, featuring a tense face-off with Senate President Godswill Akpabio. So, watch this clip closely and then sit back, because I am going to break down exactly why this 5-minute drama proves our leaders are disconnected from our reality. So sit back and take a watch.
Dickson, Bayelsa West, and I rise to make a brief contribution to this discussion on a very serious issue. Yesterday, you will recall, Mr. President, that out of concern, I raised this issue with you, and you said this motion was being considered. So I'm happy that the deputy leader has brought this. But let me observe, just as the way Senator Abaribe also touched on that briefly. Please, this is one of the most trying periods that our country is facing. Even in battle times, in war times, it's not easy to lose a brigadier general. It's not easy to lose a brigadier general. Even in battle times, it's not easy to see this mass of communities being displaced, harassed, taken hostage, and people killed in several parts of our country. Our democracy, right before our eyes, is being rubbished. Our country, right before our eyes, is losing prestige and respect, and is endangered by the day. So this is a very serious motion. And I want to briefly object to the way and manner some of the comments from the other side have been on this very serious issue. This is the Senate of the Federal Republic.
Sorry,
no,
please.
I'm coming. Let me make my views, please.
You will learn, but which other side? There is only There's only one side.
The mover of the motion. I'm coming. Before I say, please. The mover of the motion talked about.
This one, Senator Dickson.
He's taking it and doing the work. No. He's taking it and doing the work. SP. On the other side. SP. Mr. President, you are protected. You are not protected. Why are you demanding the whole Senate? To discuss this issue of national security. When Nigerians take serious issues, and not as if this Senate is an extension of the presidency that we will come here and comment on a situation like this. Please, I respectfully request withdraw that statement. No, you have to withdraw that. You have to withdraw that. No. We are talking about commendation. No. All the prayers are avoid all of that now. We will commend them. No, because they are people's party. Yes. We will commend them.
Time is up.
Well, you are the deciding officer to determine if of this very serious national issue.
Can I guide you? Can I guide you? Can I guide you? If you want to conclude your speech, be guided from the chair. The reality is that this affects all of us. So there's nothing like this side or that side. Immediately, no. Well, the person watching you outside will think that the Senate is in two divisions. On the issue of insecurity that we are discussing, we are one side. The entire Senate is one. So there's nobody here that will come and say that this side is treating the issue with levity, this side. And if you say we should not commend the president, it simply means you should tell the president to sleep. When a man has canceled his international trips and stayed back to face the issue, what you are seeing is an attack on Nigeria by our enemies. And it's even as I'm speaking with you now, I understand that yesterday, in the same community or so, that they went there and then abducted a pregnant woman with the 11 others yesterday night. You don't know when it will come to your village. So there's nothing like this side and that side. We are all Nigerians and we are all concerned with what is going on. So I would prefer that we concentrate on solutions. And what we are saying is that we must rise to the occasion. This country cannot bow to despair. Neither can we bow to fear. People are perpetrating this. They are human beings. Senator Garba, maybe you may wish to highlight what you saw on the video you showed me today. Please stand up and do that.
Welcome back. Now, I need us to take a deep breath and really unpack what we just witnessed. This was not just a shouting match. This was a revelation of the mindset that is currently governing the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I have broken this analysis down into 7 critical layers because we cannot afford to just skim the surface. So for number 1, we have the significance of the victim, the Brigadier General factor. Let's start with the trigger of this motion. Senator Dickson emphasized that even in wartime, it is not easy to lose a Brigadier General. We need to understand the gravity of this. A Brigadier General is a 1-star general. These are commanders, the strategists, the people protected by layers of intelligence and armed guards. So when bandits or terrorists have the capacity, the audacity and the firepower to ambush and kill a general, it sends a message that the state has lost its monopoly on violence. If a general is not safe, what is the fate of the farmers in Benue? What is the fate of the trader in Zamfara? Dickson was trying to shake the Senate into realizing that the security architecture hasn't just cracked, it has collapsed. But as we saw, many of his colleagues were more interested in politics than this frightening reality. The next one is the disease of eye service and commendation. The core conflict here is when Dickson criticized the motion for including a commendation of the president. This highlights a peculiar disease in Nigerian politics, the need to praise leadership even in face of absolute failure. Why would the Senate need to commend the commander-in-chief for trying to stop insecurity when the result is that a general is dead and communities are sacked? In sane democracies, when security fails this badly, the parliament summons the president or the service chiefs to grill them, not to praise them. The APC senators shouting, no, we are not defending the safety of Nigeria. They were performing what we call eye service. They want to be seen as loyal party men. They are prioritizing the ego of the president over the lives of the citizens. It is sycophancy disguised as loyalty, and it is dangerous because it normalizes failure. If you praise a child for failing an exam, that child will never study harder. The Senate is praising the executive for failing to secure Nigeria. Let us look at the next one, the Senate fallacy. Let's look at Senate President Godswill Akpabio's intervention. He is a master politician, and you saw how he tried to diffuse the situation. He said, the Senate is one. There is no this or that side. On the surface, that sounds patriotic, but let's analyze it critically. Democracy is built on the idea of sides. You have the majority and the minority. You have the government and the opposition. The job of the opposition is to check the government. The job of the legislature is to check the executive. So, when Akpabio say we are one, he is effectively trying to kill the checks and balance. He is saying, let's not embarrass the president by dissolving the line between opposition and ruling party. He is turning the Senate into a rubber stamp. A Senate that speaks with one voice when things are going wrong is a Senate that is conspiring against people. We need a divided Senate. We need a Senate where people disagree, argue, and fight for the best solution, not a Senate where everyone agrees to keep quiet to maintain unity. The next is the low bar of leadership. Did you hear Akpabio's defense of the president? He said the president cancels his international trip to stay back and face the issue. He asked, do you want the president to sleep? This is an insult to our collective intelligence. Since when did the cancelling of a trip becomes a monumental achievement worthy of applause? It is the bare minimum requirement of the job. If your house is on fire, you don't need the medal for deciding not to go to the cinema. You stay home and put out the fire by elevating a cancelled trip to the status of grand sacrifice. Akpabio and his colleagues are lowering the bar of governance. They are telling us we should be grateful that the president is even in the country. This creates a culture of mediocrity where leaders are celebrated for doing the absolute basics while the country burns. The next one is mob mentality of the majority. We must address the behavior of the senators who shouted Dickson down. This is the tyranny of majority. Dickson was making a valid point. Why are we praising the government when the people are dying? Instead of countering him with fact, for example, telling us how many bandits were neutralized or how many hostages were rescued, they countered him with noise. They drowned him out. This is a tactic used to intimidate anyone who dares to speak truth to power. It tells us that in this current Senate, you are not allowed to go off script. If you deviate from the script of the president is trying his best, you will be attacked. It creates an echo chamber where they only hear what they want to hear, insulating themselves from the cries of the masses. The next is the disconnect from the grassroots. The most painful part of this video is the disconnect. You have men and women sitting in plush air-conditioned red chamber, surrounded by security, earning massive allowance, debating whether or not to be polite to the president. Meanwhile, outside the chambers, Akpabio himself admitted that just yesterday in the same community, a pregnant woman and 11 others were abducted. Think about that juxtaposition. A pregnant woman is being dragged through the bush by terrorists, facing trauma and possibly death. And at that exact same moment, her senators are exchanging blows over political correctness. They are fighting over words while Nigerians are fighting for their lives. It shows a lack of empathy. If their own children were the ones kidnapped, would they be talking about commending the president? No, they will be tearing down the roof of the National Assembly. So let us look at the next one, the danger of normalization. Finally, my biggest fear watching this is that we are normalizing abnormal. Dickson said our democracy is being rubbished right before our eyes. He is right. When we accept that generals can be killed and we move on, when we accept that entire community can be displaced and we simply file a motion, when we accept that the Senate exists to protect the president rather than people, we are normalizing a failed state. The Senate president said we must rise to the occasion, but his actions in silencing Dickson did the opposite. They lowered the occasion. They turned a national tragedy into a partisan squabble. So, what does this video tell us? It tells us that we have a crisis of leadership. We have a crisis of conscience. We have a Senate that is more concerned with the optics of power than the responsibility of power. Senator Dickson may have been one man standing against a shouting crowd, but in that moment, he represented the voice of the frustrated Nigerians, the voice that says enough of the praise singing, show us results. As long as the Senate prioritizes being nice to the executive or being honest about the carnage, the insecurity will not end. The bandits are watching. They see a divided government more interested in fighting than in fighting them. And that is the most dangerous signal of all. This is a heavy topic, but it is one we must discuss. The drama in the Senate is not entertainment, it is a reflection of our lives. I want to hear from you in the comment section. Do you agree with Senator Dickson that it is wrong to commend the government right now, or do you agree with the Senate President Godswill Akpabio that the Senate must remain united and support the President's effort? Please, don't just watch and leave. Like this video to help the algorithm spread this message. Share this with your friends and family. Let everyone see how our representatives are behaving, and if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button for Oba's Trending Gist. We bring you the news, but more importantly, we bring you the truth behind the news. I am Oba signing out. Stay safe and stay vigilant.